I remember reading a book in my Scandinavian literature class about a woman going to her priest and talking about her abusive husband, and the priest telling her, well, that's fine and good, but you need to stay with your husband. Some of you have probably heard similar stories that don't go back to the 1800s but are more recent. I think that what Jesus was trying to do in his day and time was to encourage and create a place of life instead of death for individuals and community. But I would also challenge us to think about those places where relationships, marriages, become not about life-giving. Whether it's due to abuse issues or substance abuse, there are times where we fail. And yet that doesn't mean that God abandons us. That doesn't mean that we haven't tried hard enough. What it does call us to do is to step back. Remember our role as a covenanting people with God and with one another, and to look at ways that we can care for each other going forward. Now, if you are hearing me say that divorce is all fine and good and that's what everyone should do, that is not at all what I am saying, right? But I am acknowledging that there are places of brokenness and then there are places of new life and promise. And always we are called into that path of life and promise. I also want to say that it's easy, perhaps for each of us, and as has been noted in our larger church, to jump very quickly to talking about sexuality and relationships and divorce and adultery. And we miss out on this whole first section that perhaps challenges each and every one of us in a more profound way. And that's talking about anger and reconciliation. How are each of us called to look at those places where we have struggled with anger, with being frustrated with neighbor, or even lying or bearing false witness against neighbor? And how are we called to reconcile ourselves? We heard a very powerful witness today in adult education. Jonathan O'Dell was here to invite us into conversation about those places of brokenness and of hurt on the issue of race and racism. What happens if now, this day, or this week, or this year, we as a congregation realize that we need to leave the altar and go out into the community and find ways of reconciliation, to really deeply hear stories in a way that we have never done before, to dream a new dream that might mend those broken promises, broken lives. What happens to us then when we come back to this place as a fuller community, standing alongside someone that maybe we thought we knew but didn't know their whole story? And that as the communion host is put in our hands, or we dip the bread into the chalice, that we have a sense that we are a fuller and richer body due to that reconciliation. What happens when we go into the world and we look at those places in our lives and in the lives of our friends where there has been hurt in relationships, marriages or partnerships that have broken or failed, and we listen intently. Not with judgment, as has so often been done, but with a place of wanting to connect and dream a new dream and live into promise and covenant in a way before unimaginable. That becomes an incredible possibility, an openness to a new reality. And I believe speaks to where Jesus was going today. To challenge people to live fully and deeply as people of the law, but with a sense of grace and wonder. And knowing that no matter when they get mad or how a relationship breaks down or those struggles with reconciliation, that it doesn't mean that they're abandoned, but are invited to explore themselves, their connection with others, and with the holy in a new and powerful way. As we come this day, looking to tomorrow, perhaps tripping in our own ways toward Valentine's Day and this sense of love, maybe we can come with open hearts to one another, gathering around the table in wonder, knowing that there is reconciliation yet for us to do, and to live into that fully. For there are things set before us, life